Our first 2026 World Cup semifinal is set, and it's a matchup we are very used to seeing at this point. Welcome to the World Cup Daily Recap, guys. I'm Adrian. Let's revisit Belgium versus Spain. So, first, the team selections. The midfield was something that we pondered a lot in the preview, given the loss of Amadou Onana for Belgium. Lost him to an ACL tear in the match against the USA. Hard luck there. And more hard luck for Belgium in losing Tielemans prior to kickoff. He was announced in the starting 11, but then was pulled out as he was absent for the latter half of the warm-up. At the time of recording, there was thinking that it was a hamstring injury. Regardless, Aston Villa is not happy right now. And that meant that Belgium would be without both Onana and Tielemans, so Hans van Aken was brought in to play in the deep role next to Raskin, while De Bruyne was back in the starting 11 as well. Doku too. He was back in the starting 11 also. As for Spain, they started Fabian Ruiz ahead of Pedri. No injury or anything, just perhaps that Pedri hasn't been superb in this tournament, not up to his own ridiculously high standards, right? Whereas Fabian Ruiz looked really good off of the bench against Portugal. So Doku was the main outball for Belgium. He was their escape plan in a game where they had to spend a lot of time defending, as expected. Spain with most of the ball trying to find a way through that Belgian back line. And Spain, as expected, attacked down the flanks, a lot of the time through Yamal, though you would see Cucurella overlapping as well as Alex Baena tucks in. But the main goal was to use the width that Yamal provides in order to open up the channel for Pedro Porro to get forward. Sometimes Yamal hugged the touchline, other times that right inside channel is where he'd occupy, which would open up the flank for Pedro Porro, and that's exactly how the first goal came in the 29th minute. An attack down the right, where this time Lamine Yamal tucked inside and played Porro through, and his cutback saw almost strike low at Courtois, which was saved but put directly into the path of Fabian Ruiz, who cleaned that up with a finish into the goal. And pretty quickly justifying his selection, right? We'd see this over and over. Lamine Yamal getting isolated against Doku was seemingly the priority for Spain, as it was causing a lot of issues, as Doku and De Kuyper were really struggling to lock down that side of the pitch. Not that Lamine Yamal was getting tons of opportunities. There would be some where he would come close, but the right was where most of the attack was focused. And he looked like the best version of Lamine Yamal that we've seen at this tournament, at least. A tournament where he's not really taken full flight, as even his Spanish compatriots, or even he, would probably tell you. Then, out of nowhere, a goal for Belgium. Nicely worked on the right flank with De Bruyne playing Castagne through to hit Castanha, sorry, I almost said it Portuguese style. But anyway, he hit a cross into the box that De Ketelaere headed past Unai Simon, adding to his 2 goals he scored against the USA, and he hits the Jan Vertonghen Super Jan celebration. Love that. So, 2 things about the goal. Great strength in holding off Cubarsí, who had his arm hooked, and to get that quality of a finish as he flew through the air was certainly impressive. De Ketelaere looking like a superb striker all of a sudden, and 2, that, of course, was the first goal that Spain had conceded at this tournament, and it took about 650-ish minutes, so the first half ended 1-1. Spain probably the more frustrated of the 2 teams, given Belgium had 1 goal from 2 attempts. But I gotta say, and I said this about Lamine Yamal earlier, but it applied to Spain in general, I guess because they mostly attacked down that flank. But their attacks weren't too devastating or threatening in that first half. The Belgian defensive organization was pretty good in the first half, and to come away with a goal on top of it, successful first half for Belgium, frustrating one for Spain. You would see Spain turn it up a notch in the second half and start to test Courtois more. Lamine Yamal with a classic, cutting in from the right, striking a powerful shot at Courtois, but it wasn't far enough into the corner, so it ended up just being a save for Courtois. He'd also have to charge off of his line to cut down the angle on a strike moments before that. That also came from Spain's right, and I cannot remember for the life of me who took that shot. But whatever. The point is, Courtois was playing well in goal for Belgium. He probably would have liked to have that shot back that led to Spain's goal, as he palmed it straight into a dangerous area. But other than that, he was great as per usual, which I said would be one of the keys to Belgium advancing. And that, of course, made it all the more devastating when he would be forced off with an injury just after the second half Infantino break. Seeing him go off in tears, not great. I hope it's not a bad one. This Belgian side just getting rocked with injuries. But yeah, as far as the effect on this match, it changes things for the defenders mentally. I mean, it changes the belief in the team when you don't have arguably the best shot stopper in the world backing you up, and it changes the belief of the opposition as well. They feel even more bolstered to get shots on goal because there isn't, well, one of the best shot stoppers in the world at the moment in goal. And so, late in the game, with De La Fuente's substitutions paying off just as they did against Portugal, it was particularly rough to see how Courtois' injury affected this tie. I don't want to put too much blame on Lamens. It's not as if it was an elementary collect. The ball was low and bounced right before reaching him. It was a strike from Kubarsi, so that can be tricky, but you'd still expect the keeper at this level to be able to collect the ball safely. But another big rebound, and Marino Nazario was there to tuck it away. 2 rebounds, 2 goals for Spain. Shout out to whoever called him Marino Nazario. I can't get that out of my head. So, Marino, the super sub, with the winner once again. Getting Spain through for the second time with just his second touch since coming onto the pitch for Dani Olmo, who, by the way, that was probably Dani Olmo's best performance of this World Cup, I'd say. He and Oyarzabal had some nice combinations out there, just didn't come to anything, but a great performance from Olmo. There was some excitement at the end with Unai Simon getting caught out. De Catalara rounded him and his cross was dealt with expertly by Aymeric Laporte. Great little calm overhead kick from the ground kind of thing. And so it ended 2-1. I feel for Senne Lamens. That's rough, man. To come on near the end unexpectedly and then give up the rebound that gets your country knocked out of the World Cup. It's unfortunate, but hey, who's to say that Courtois wouldn't have spilled that as well? You never know. After the match, Courtois said that it was just goal kicks where he felt pain in his quadriceps, and he was fine to stay in, but the coach chose to change him. But in general, how do you rate this Belgian tournament? For much of it, they weren't exactly convincing. They were serviceable without being really excellent. They were never really a top team in this tournament. But I think even though I know the strong Belgian teams of the past are well and truly gone, there's part of me that still holds on to them to a, well, they should be better kind of standard. But I think that this is just what Belgium is at this point. They were terrible at Euro 2024. They were a bit of an improvement here at the World Cup. They will cause some problems for the best teams in the world along the way, but they won't win many matches against the best teams in the world. Just a solid B tier team now, if we're doing an ABCD tier system. Spain, on the other hand, I don't know if you guys agree with me here, but look, maybe I'm also holding them to a previous standard that they just aren't at right now. I'm still holding them to that Euro 2024 standard where they were more direct and exciting to watch. I find that they have difficulties in breaking teams down now more than they used to. They aren't peppering the goal like they used to. It feels like there's fewer opportunities. They're playing a bit more of a possession-based game, which we knew they would do, but the balance has seemingly tipped further towards possession than I expected. Maybe with Williams back and healthy, they resemble that team once again, as Alex Baena, for all of the good he has brought this tournament, doesn't provide that same spark. He likes to tuck inside. Spain are through to the semifinals, and they will take on France in Dallas on July 14th. That's next Tuesday, okay? So, next we have England versus Norway, massive matchup, as well as Argentina taking on Switzerland, and then the semifinals will be set. Thanks for watching once again, guys. See you tomorrow.